Alright, so we're back for another day, and order of operations be damned. First, let me just show you around, made some upgrades. I got a new metal cabinet, so it doesn't have holes, so stuff won't keep dropping. Cleaned up just a tiny bit. Got a much nicer, movable shelf that's on wheels. Put a light out there, and yeah, just cleaned up a little bit of things. Now, I hope this is good enough quality because it's very windy today. It's already seen 47-mile-an-hour gusts. As the day progresses, it's supposed to get much better, but for right now, it's terrible. So, I'm just going to do a bunch of minor stuff that I feel like doing while it's really windy. I will try, like I said, I'm going to do the doors on essentially just on this side. I'm gonna have to move it back. You see this gap is pretty wide. It's also poked out right here quite a bit, so the door needs to get tilted like such. I'm going to wait to do the weather stripping until it's not so windy, so it's not just flying around. And then I'm going to install engine accessories. So the other header on this side that I had to take off when installing the engine, the starter motor, and wire up some of the electronics. Should be good. Alright, so first show you the dogs, and then I'll give you an update on new stores. This is Bagel. We just got him. He's a good boy. Yeah, Bagel. This is Zoe. And they're good doggies, yes. They're good doggies. And Bagel needs to stop biting the microphone. What do you have in your mouth? You get that tape out of your mouth. Alright. So this fender is just very temporarily hung. I know that I'm gonna have a big gap. The door itself, I'm very happy with. This corner sticks out. But what's kind of good is that there's a crack right here, and when I repaint it, I might reshape this corner and mess with the door so that they line up better. I don't know how well that's going to show up. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. It has that crease that sticks out. Other than that, I'm fairly happy with how the door is. I know that I'm going to have a huge gap between the door right here. It's because it's slightly angled. Whatever, I should have that's one of those things I definitely should have played with all of my door alignments and body alignment pieces before I painted. I did it. This project has already taken 5 years. Oh well, this door I'm fairly happy with, and if it needs major changes when the weather strip comes, I'll make those changes. Other than that, I'm just going to leave it how it is, and just roll with it for now. Okay, so the big problem with these doors is that they'll slam open and you'll get creases like shown in the other door. So a popular upgrade is to take the Jeep door checks, and they allow you a little bit more freedom. I'm going to wait to add the Jeep door checks until when it's not so windy, because the door is going to need to be open, and I'm going to need to be able to let it just stay there. I'll also probably get my dad to help and make sure that I don't fold it over and add a crease to this door as well. So, time to move on to the engine compartment. Like I said, add some headers, add the spark plugs, starter, and the electronics. Should be good. But actually, before that, I need to pet these doggies and have lunch. So I'm going to explain a few of the things that I did to help me. First, You have to have a jack stand while doing this, have a rag underneath. The second was I was using masking tape to mark the previous positions of these. If you have two people, it's nice and easy. You can, one person can adjust, one person can look how far it's moved, easy. When it's just you, you need the masking tape to mark where these strikers were originally. Beyond that, when I was trying to tilt the door this way, I would just loosen up these bottom two bolts, keep this one fairly tight, like 95% tight, and then I would, loosen all three of these lower bolts, and that would allow me the freedom to tilt the door as I pleased. Once that was locked in place, I would tighten up one of the bolts and see if the door would close and fit, and just go from there of loosening and tightening the right bolts. Alright, so forgotten speed bumps. So I took out the fan that was mounted to this lower pulley, and I'm just going to run a full electric fan setup. And it's weird, the previous owner had it set up as a hybrid, and he actually had two fans, one as a push, one as a pull, and the I guess this crank mounted fan, I guess you want to call it. But anyways, if you can see, they don't line up. So that's why this is not fully attached. I'm going to try and go to the junkyard, I guess tomorrow, and get a deeper pulley, or just play around and try and get different pulleys. See what I can do, because maybe I can get a more shallow pulley for this lower one. So I'm not going to mess with really mounting the alternator. I might just kind of keep it mocked up like this, add the wires. All right, so my carburetor sat outside, and so it's really dusty. I have carb cleaner and whatnot, but I'm also going to run to the auto parts store and ask them, hey, is there anything that I should do beforehand? I know it's a relatively new carburetor. I don't think it'll need a rebuild. Yeah, I don't think it'll need a rebuild, but it's definitely dirty. So before I mount this, I'm going to go to the auto parts store and just kind of ask them, hey, so with all of these unknowns, where does that leave us? Well, this wiring is for the alternator, so that's good there. The starter is not fully hooked up. I'm not sure if I need to have the extra wire on the R or the S terminal, so I'll look that up. I know I've had trouble with that before. I have a small wire right here. I forgot what that goes to. It might be to the electric choke on the car, but I remember it being very easy. This little wire I'll add, it just goes right here to, I think that's the thermostat housing. And I have one more wire for, I think is the actual thermostat housing. I'm not sure. I do have one more wire somewhere. In addition, I have to take off this top plate. Not doing that yet until the carb's ready. Fine. So I guess for right now, the engine is more or less cooked. So the next thing is, beyond just petting this dog, is to mount the transmission. I can't really get a good shot of that. Especially with the dog. But the mount is not fully hooked up. It just needs a couple of bolts. It's a weird transmission. It's a TH350C, which means that it's computer controlled overdrive, which is awesome. So I almost have, not 4 gears, but the third gear locks. Awesome. But that means that it has a weird bolt. It's actually a metric bolt for the transmission mount, I guess. So I'll hook that up real quick. I don't know if I'll be able to get a shot. I don't have I don't have good enough mounting equipment, I guess we'll call it, to be able to take my phone down there and be able to show you like a time lapse. You got anything else? Nah, he doesn't have anything else. So, very admittedly, I am running out of motivation. But I am going to do a few things while I wait to go to the junkyard and parts store tomorrow. First, I have decided that yes, I can fit a mount in that blank space. So I'm going to work on just getting my little dash piece and put the gauges in that dash piece. Next, I'm going to hook up this, I believe it's the trans line. I forgot what it does. Oh, speedometer. That's my speedometer cable. I'm going to hook that up. And, sorry, I forgot what I'm doing. I am also going to add my last set of spark plugs. The engine's not finalized. I need one more bolt. I think I might have dropped it somewhere. I'm not sure. It's probably in those rocks, but that is fine. So those are the three things that I'm going to get done. And by the time my dad is back, I will either go to the parts store, or the likely scenario is that I'm going to have him help me out and put the tailgate on. The reason why I didn't put the tailgate on once I finished the bedwood was originally because I could not find where I put these. But lo and behold, I had put them on one of the shelving racks where I put all my parts. So essentially where they should be. So that is the plan for now. Alright, so these are basically in, and I feel like I owe an explanation as to why I'm missing a gauge and blinking lights, whatever. So the first is, I do not have my tack. One reason is, this is like a silver face. It's the same exact font, but it's silver, and I don't like that. I want it all to be matching, obviously, just like everyone else. Second, these lights, you can see it has the twist connection and then this splice connection, which is just terribly put together. I'm going to redo that. I don't want to talk about the rest of the wires, but yes, this will go through. I don't know where the other two holes that are missing, what those lights are, I forgot. Whatever, we'll get to them, cross that bridge at some point. The other thing is, why is my dash like this? Why is my glove box covered like that? Well, the reason is, I told my dad, hey, I really like Filippo Pantone, and he did like Ken Block's livery. Can you do something like that for me? He said, sure. And what I'm going to say about it is, he gave it his best go. Now, I don't know if I'm going to stick with this. I had something else envisioned, especially with different color schemes. And the reason why I mentioned the color scheme being important is because literally my childhood bedroom was a primary color scheme. Not all primary, sorry. But it was yellow, red, blue, and green. And green doesn't come up well, but that was literally my childhood bedroom. Each of the four walls was a different color. And while cool, and it's growing on me, I don't know if I can live with that. It just, for many reasons, I don't know if I can. The glove box, I do think I will keep, no matter what. I like that. I like the job that he did. This one, not so much. And you can see it actually has like a texture to it. So that is because he's using a little airspray gun, and it died on him. So he had to like paint these on, and so they're not like precise as you would expect. Same thing with the glove box cover. But yeah, so that's why it's a funky design. I enjoy it. Like I said, it's growing on me. I don't know if I'm going to stick with it. Maybe that will turn into carbon fiber, especially if I sew it. I might just use sand cut sand and have them cut out a carbon fiber piece, which would look mint. But, you know,
we'll decide. So onto the speedometer and the other bit, which is the spark plugs.
Alright, those two super easy items. What you saw me struggle with the spark plugs was I just had to make sure that they were torqued down right. I believe it's at 17 foot-pounds. Someone let me know if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 17 foot-pounds. If not, that's a good enough approximation. One thing that I am going to do is replace the bolts on the motor mount. I did buy grade 8 bolts for it, but when I bought my ARP kit, I didn't realize it said motor mount. So I have some bolts for it. So I'm going to go ahead and replace those. My dad just got back from work, and so I'm going to have him help me put the tailgate on. Should be good.
Alright, so it's the next day, and I forgot to film an outro for that video, but thank you, I really appreciate it. The truck is coming together now that the tailgate is on. I don't know, it feels a lot more complete. I know that once I add the front fascia, it's gonna look like a real truck. I mean, at that point it is, as always, please let me know if I can be doing something better, if there's better ways to hang the doors, or I don't know, anything else that I'm about to do, like weather stripping. I'd really appreciate it, and do all the normal YouTube stuff. I'd really appreciate it, really help the channel out. Like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, peace.